brain has not come back yet. Okay, she is trying to get on the link. I will resend it to her. But in the meantime, in between time, what I wanted to say was Biden and all the people that he is putting on his cabinet, especially when it comes to STEM. There's so much going on that I'm excited, especially since he's undoing a lot of things that other people are doing. You know, our previous person was doing. He's undoing all that, which is great. All right, cool. Just sent her the link, so she should be joining us shortly. Other than that, make sure you follow her on Instagram, but also make sure you follow me. Hopefully this broadcast is going out to all of the channels. We are trying a new app called Restream. And so Restream is making sure your video is going not only to your personal page, to your business page, to Periscope, i.e. Twitter, to, I don't think LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a beta, but it could be going to LinkedIn and to YouTube. So let me know. Hopefully you follow me on all of these platforms and let me know if you're able to see this video on all of this. But this is cool. It's something new. I just realized that I don't have my logo up, but it's okay. We don't work on that. While we're waiting on her, just a reminder that my book, In the Know, Setting Up Your Child for a STEM Career, is still available on Amazon. Make sure you check it out. And if you are listening to the podcast is available on Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, iHeartRadio, and just about any platform that you can find a podcast. So make sure you join in on all of that. And I'm just going to check my YouTube to make sure this is going live there. Because again, this is a new app, something that we're trying out, making sure that it works. And oh yes, I'm live on YouTube currently. So that's awesome. Let me try my Twitter. This is all fun. We get to play with all these different things. So I'm super excited about that. Oh, looks like she is in. So let me go to her. All right. Oops. Let me go to profile. Oh, yes, and I'm on Twitter. Awesome. Wow, I'm so excited. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to watch this. So, all right. Let me check in with the producer. Is she good? Okay. Hi, India. Welcome to the show.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I had to, it wouldn't let me go through the link. So I had to go to the app and then type in the number.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well,
I was trying.
Okay. It's okay. No worries. I'm just excited that you're able to join us now.
Listen, I didn't realize it was Pacific time.
Oh.
I was at 6 o'clock. I was like, what's going on?
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, she's in California. This is bedtime.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. My best friend just moved to California, so I've been talking to her.
It's okay. Well,
I figured it out. I'm
glad you're not asleep yet. Thank you for staying up and joining us.
Yes, I'm excited.
So where are you at then? Are you on the East Coast?
I'm in Atlanta.
Ah, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Are you from Atlanta or are you there now just for the work you do?
I'm from Georgia, just not Atlanta. I'm from Macon, Georgia, and that's about 2 hours south.
Okay.
About 2 hours south of Atlanta.
Okay. So I was engaging the audience and telling them a little bit about you and your Instagram, but I want to let you tell us all about who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm India, as you know. I currently work for a medical device company here in Atlanta called Immucor, and we make blood-based reagents that go on automated instruments. And so these instruments are in your hospitals, blood banks, donor centers, globally. We service the entire country. Um, our reagents, we make them in-house. And so the assays that are run on these instruments are for like blood typing, donor matching, disease diagnosis, you name it. So what I do in all of that is I'm what's called a MTS scientist. So a manufacturing technical support scientist. So like I said, since we make our products in-house, they're manufactured in-house. So my team, we pretty much make sure that our reagents and all of our products are made properly. If there's an issue, my team, we go in, we do investigations. Currently, I'm doing a study on one of the products that we make. Pretty much, I'm just kind of putting more parameters around how we're making this particular product because of some customer complaints that we've received a couple years ago.
Okay.
So I do it all, honestly. I'm assistant manager in our pilot lab. And so in that lab, we test all of the products that are currently out there in the field. So we're just making sure that the products are performing the way they should. And in the case that we do get a customer complaint, we attempt to replicate whatever the customer is experiencing in the field to see if we can figure out how to fix it. If we need to do something on our end in manufacturing, maybe we need to change something, whether that could be anything from the amount of red cells we're adding to a product or how long we're incubating it. I mean, it could be anything. So we're constantly testing all of our products around the clock on our instruments. So everything that's in the field, we have a smaller scale of it in my lab, and we're constantly testing our products just to make sure that the performance is where it should be. We do a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah. You're like a Jacqueline of many hats in your field.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Yes, it's a lot, but you know.
So how did you get started with that?
At that company or in science in general?
Well, let's start off with in that company, like, or getting. How did you get involved with that type of science?
Well, my background is in biotech. My master's is in biotechnology. I was initially, when I got into the field, I was with a pharmaceutical company in Atlanta. And there we manufactured a drug to treat prostate cancer. And I loved it because I've always had an interest in cancer treatment, cancer research, and all of those things because, I mean, pretty much all of us have experienced cancer in one way or another, whether it's a loved one, a friend. I myself had a cancer scare when I was about 13, 14,
Oh, wow.
or something like that. Yeah. So we've all experienced it in different ways. And so that kind of fueled my passion for that and wanting to figure out how we can treat it, specifically how to treat cancer without killing our healthy cells. And that was one of the things that we do, or we did, they still do at that company. They make an immunotherapy drug that uses the patient's own blood cells, and we transform them in-house, and the patient receives the treatment intravenously. So versus chemo and radiation, which is something that's foreign, that's going into the body to try to find those cells and connect to them and attack them, your body knows your own blood cells. So the response and the healing time and the success rate was like through the roof. And these were stage 4 terminal patients. I was there for almost 3 years, and I think we only lost one patient while I was there. So the treatment, it speaks for itself. I transitioned from there to where I am now, just for some personal reasons. Like I said, I love the company. I still support them. I have friends that are still there. I still love what they do. It was just time for me to transition. And I actually had a friend from grad school who was currently working at where I am now. And he referred me. So like he sent my resume. I was like, I need a job. I'm ready to leave where I am. I need your help. And he's like, oh, we're hiring in my lab. I'm like, okay. And I wasn't familiar with medical device at all. I was reading the company and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna fit because my background is like molecular biology and I'm like in the lab. And so I'm not really sure if I'll be a fit or if they'll, they can see a space for me there. But I've always been the type of person that I can pick up on things quickly. You show it to me once or twice and I pretty much got it. And so that was something that attracted them to me like immediately during the interview. So by the time I got into, I was like, oh, you have a lab. It's just not the lab that I'm used to. It's way more laid back than the complete gown up type of lab that I was used to.
Oh, so the lab you left was the
full, no skin showing, no nothing to the lab I'm in now. You just have a coat on. You may not, gloves, and that's about it. So I was very uncomfortable when I got into the lab first because I'm just like, it just was not what what I was used to. But I've been there for a little over 2 years now. And so I've gotten promoted to assistant manager in our pilot lab. And that it was more recent. That happened when COVID hit, actually. Things were just kind of spiraling. And because of COVID, a lot of our donors that we were using, their antibodies and blood profiles changed. So we had to stop and take that into account and figure out like, oh, we can't use this donor anymore because they've had COVID. Now they're making completely different antibodies than what they were making. And so we've had to kind of just like learn on the fly and adjust and do all of those things. And of course we lost people left, people, all kind of things, laid off, everything. So I kind of got thrown into the role because of everything that was happening, and people were kind of freaking out and kind of leaving. And like we work with blood, so people were kind of like, oh, I don't, everybody had their own reaction to COVID. So I kind of got, like I said, thrown into that role. But I realized it was kind of meant to be. I've always been a leader in different arenas outside of where I work. So I kind of took the job and like hit the ground running and proved myself rather quickly that I could, handle the job. So being a Black woman at my company to now be in a managerial role for me was great, to say the least. It's always being in science. It's hard being a minority, and especially being a female.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of people that look like you, which is where my whole passion and where Chic Geek comes from. I want to show girls that look like us that no, you can be a scientist. We exist. That's my whole mission. Is like, no, we exist. We're here. And to encourage and promote young girls to come into the field because we're needed more than people realize.
Yeah, that's
Black girl magic is real. Like
yeah, that's why I do the show. Not only to show the diversity that's within STEM, but to show the type of career opportunities that's in STEM.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of people know of the science and they know about cancer and maybe cancer research, but maybe they don't know that there's a full blown lab somewhere that they're taking someone's blood sample and creating medication directly for them. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
opening the world to new types of career options that are
Yeah.
available, and the
Yeah.
people who's in those careers and what they.
Absolutely. We're here.
We're here and we're not going anywhere, and you got a
No.
conversation. Someone said very impressive, so that's awesome. But so let's talk about how you got started in science. So basically, yeah, tell me, what was your spark? Was it elementary? What got you in science?
Well, I mean, I've always naturally been good in science. Like I've always gotten good grades in science, but it never was um a career goal. I was just naturally good in it, but I always wanted to be a psychologist, a counselor, a therapist. I love talking to people, giving advice, and all those things. So going to college, I was going to college to be a forensic psychiatrist. My senior year in high school, I was on college prep track, so our whole senior year was geared towards preparing to go into whatever our chosen, major or field was. Took nothing but psychology classes, forensic classes, all of that. And that was my goal. That was where I was going. I knew what I was going to do. I got to college, got to the registrar's office. She knows me. She's like one of my godmothers. So I was all excited. I'm like, I know what I want to do. I'm not a confused student. I'm not an undeclared major. I have my little notebook. I'm like, this is what I'm going to major in. And then I'm going to do this. And I know I have to go. I'm going to get my PhD. Da, da, da. I had it all. And she was like, no. She was like, you're not going to make any money doing that. And I was like, well, no, I know I have to like go get my PhD, and I know I got to be a doctor first, and then I'm going to practice. That's why I want to be a psychiatrist, so I can practice medicine and prescribe. And she was just like, no. And I was like, I mean, just broke my little heart. Just broke my little heart. I'm like, okay. Well, one of the main things was the forensics program at my school, the Fort Valley State University. It was brand new at the time. And so she was like, no, you're not going to be the guinea pig. You're going to go over here. You're going to go to agriculture and you're going to get this scholarship. And I was like, agriculture? First of all, what is agriculture? What is agriculture? I mean, in my brain, all I saw was like somebody riding in a tractor, like across the field. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going outside. Like, what? So she was like, no, you're going to go over here to this department. You're going to talk to this professor, Dr. Deere, who I still talk to this day. You're going to get this scholarship and you're going to go in this program. And I'm just like bawling, boo-hooing. My mom is like, look, I don't have any money. You're going to go get this scholarship. And I'm just like, so nobody cares what I want. So she takes me over there. I meet this Dr. Deere, and he was a very sweet man. Like, he was so nice, and I was so rude to him because I did not want to be there at all. He's like, and this is our lab, and he's showing me all this science stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to do science. Like, I don't. And he's like, I'm looking at your scores. Like, you're great in science. Like, why don't you want to be in science? And I'm like, I just don't want to be here. Like, this is not what I want to do. And so he's like, apply for the scholarship. There is a scholarship, apply. And my mom is like, no, she's going to apply. No, that's fine. She's going to do it. So I applied, and I maybe like the next day or day after, I got an email that I got the scholarship. So
your mom was like, you're going.
Yeah, pretty much. So I got thrown into this program, and I'm just angry. And it wasn't until I took intro to biotechnology. Like I said, I had never even heard of that word before. I'm like, what is that? I mean, I know biotechnology.
Very often to many.
Right. Right. So I'm like, bio and technology, like I couldn't see it. So it wasn't until I took that class and I learned about the applications of it and what it actually meant. That's where it just clicked and I fell in love, and it reignited my passion for wanting to figure out this whole cancer thing, this treatment thing, that you can manipulate your own cells, that there were options outside of, chemo and radiation. My bachelor's is in plant science. Oh, plants have cells. Oh, you can actually use cells from plants for a human. Like, what? Like, yeah. Mind blown, And I started getting sent to all these different schools for the summer to do research at all these different institutions where I got even more exposure. I went to New York, to Fordham University, Texas A&M, Alabama A&M, like all these different places where I was doing research and learning. But that also matured me a lot and opened my eyes to what I said earlier about how a lot of times I was like the only Black person there, especially, at Fordham in New York and Texas A&M, Alabama A&M, that's HBCU. So it was all family. They loved on me as soon as I walked in the door, but at these other, big D1 schools, they're just like, who are you? Why are you here? And what is Fort Valley? Where is that? Is that an accredited school? And I had to learn and have confidence in myself. Like, no, I'm here for a reason. I applied like everybody else, and they were every experience, it ended with them just being completely shocked at how well I performed.
I feel like sometimes that's what it is. You come from a small school or especially a small HBCU.
Yeah.
Not ready for you. They're like, well, we're at these big name schools and everyone knows our school, so we're doing well. And it's
right.
Well, I went to a small HBCU and I probably learned more than you because our teachers really drive it into you.
Absolutely. And that's what happened almost every time. Every time. I mean,
a couple of comments from Aurice. Hey, Aurice, for being here. She said, hey, ladies, Black women in STEM rock. She said,
yes.
Thank God for your mom. And PWIs don't show you love like HBCUs. And that
Absolutely. Facts. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so graduating, because I did an internship every summer, that was my experience. So to have those names on my resume, I mean, especially, people see Texas A&M like, oh, wait, you were at Texas A&M? You worked under this professor and you worked in his lab and you did this and da-da-da. Yeah. Did. Yeah. So would you like to see the research? Would you like to, do you want to see it? Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, I did. And I rocked. And I presented and I placed at the conference. Yeah, we're awesome.
Mom said, hey, daughter.
Hi. Love you. That's my biggest cheerleader.
Oh, you know what? Sometimes our moms are our biggest cheerleaders. I mean, my mom I'm gonna say she's been one of my biggest cheerleaders, but also one of my biggest pushing me to do things.
All that
you don't want to do, but turns out it's a good experience.
Yeah. The magic of moms.
Right. But I'm so glad you had all that experience and doing the internships. And I would like to ask you to expand on internships. Like, why are internships important?
They're crucial. They are crucial. Like I said, internships equate to job experience.
Yeah.
Period. Of course, you're not going to say, you're not going to have, oh, I worked 10 years in this lab, but coming from, academia and trying to go into the workforce, that's what you have. Your research that you did at your home institution and your internships, along with any conferences or presentations that you may or may not have done that you have literature for, that you can cite it, refer to, tag it somewhere in your resume. Like on my resume, I have the title and the name of the journal, page numbered excerpt where you can go and find the research that I did at whatever institution. So internships, that's your work experience. Without it, it's going to be that much harder for someone to take you off the street, basically, with no experience, especially in a field that's hands-on. Because how are you proving that you know how to do anything? Everybody's lazy these days. No one wants to train anybody. We're hiring right now in my lab, and the first thing we're like, what do you know how to do? What instruments do you know how to work on? How long have you, like, what assays do you, because that's the way it's like this. So that is your experience. If you like I said, because I went to HBCU, my advisor, they were very, very hands-on with us. They gave us loads and loads of information, loads and loads of opportunities. I mean, literally every summer, it's like, where do you want to go? You want to go to New York? Sure. You want to go to Texas? You want to go to Seattle? Sure.
And they're helping you.
You have to have that diversity on your resume. If you just have, I went to school for 4 years, I got a 3.5 GPA. I mean, that's cute, but it doesn't tell me anything. It told me that you took your test and you passed your test. Mm-hmm. That's it. Versus someone with a 2.9 GPA and they have 4 years of internships and experiences and conferences, and they presented research. I mean, if I have that resume and this resume, I'm sorry. I'm gonna interview you both, but
I need the person to work. And yeah, I already said Paul Quinn College, so I see you, girl, Paul Quinn. Okay. I mean, I'm gonna shout out mine, Stillman College in Alabama, but you know, but the main thing.
I toured there.
The main thing is these internships and stuff be paid for. I think that's what people don't be realizing.
Yes. Listen. One thing we learned day one, we don't work for free. We don't. My time is valuable. My abilities is valuable. So that's the first thing, shout out Dr. Deere, that he taught us. You make money and you don't work for free. Every internship that I attended, even the conferences, we didn't pay for anything. That's right. But even the conferences, we got food stipends while we were there to eat. I mean, we got our room, we got there off the bus like some celebrities. Here's your room key. Our little envelope, we knew what the envelopes was. A little card, little debit card, little prepaid card. This much money loaded on it for you to eat while you're here. Welcome. Good luck on your presentations.
Right.
We don't work for free. Money is out there. If your advisor or whoever you're with is not telling you, you tell them, you ask them, you go look yourself. All of my internships were sponsored by the National Science Foundation.
That's right.
NSF, REU. It's out there.
Social media, you can find so many projects available.
Absolutely. There's so many internships and grants. I mean, USA Jobs has a whole sector that's dedicated to graduates and internships that are paid. Yeah. It's there. You just have to go and get it, basically. All you have to literally do is apply. I mean, it's very basic. Well, I mean, it really is. It literally is. I mean, you could just go to the National Science Foundation's website, .com, nsf.gov, and I mean, I mean, just unlimitless amount of.
Just go and apply and talk to your advisor.
Right.
But you can also find it yourself,
Yep.
and things are available. Like my the people on my social media know I went as a teacher aide on this program called STEM Seas, and I was able to. We went on a boat and we sailed the Bering Sea for a week and
Oh,
teaching students about research on water, oceanography, biology, things like that. But even as the teacher's aide, they paid me to go and pay for my flight and stuff like that. But this is also opportunities. How many people, especially students, can say they sailed the Bering Sea?
right.
But these opportunities are available, and not just for students. Like I said, for myself, I didn't even know about it until someone informed me and was like, "Hey, do you want to go as a teacher's aide and teach students about this?" I was like, "Hell yeah,
Right.
I do."
Right.
And I had a lot of people who was like, "We don't, black people don't get on boats like that. We don't go sailing in Alaska." And I was like, "You don't,
Right.
but yeah, because when else am I gonna do this?"
Absolutely. That's the question. That is the question. We've gotten sent everywhere. We've gotten sent to Dubai, to Puerto Rico. I mean, it's there. That's all I can say. It is there. NSF.gov, USAjobs.gov, like it's there. It is there. You can literally travel the world on their dime.
Yes.
You can literally go and make money and get experience at the same time to, build your resume, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, my internships alone got me my job. Like, I
So
didn't have any experience.
your mom says, and I'm just saying this Brown. Why am I calling her your mom? Anyway, how hard was it for you as a black woman going to predominantly white arenas, i.e., conferences, interns, labs? What was your greatest hurdle, if any?
My greatest hurdle is in two part. Um, intimidation, initial intimidation, which in turn caused me to lack confidence and the knowledge that I knew I had. Mm-hmm. And then just the mistreatment from peers. So, like in New York, I was the only Black person there. So, and my boss was there. In New York, people are, I'm from the South. Let me just say. So it was a big culture shock for me to experience that type of personality. I mean, immediately, when I first met her, yes, ma'am, hi, ma'am, and she was offended. I mean, I was completely thrown off. I didn't know how to talk to her. I mean, I was just like a 5-year-old. It just don't say ma'am, don't do this, don't just so going into different arenas, you're having to learn, like in Texas, it was a language barrier. I was in a lab of all male Asian postdocs. Yeah.
Yeah.
That probably was more stressful than New York
Yeah,
because
she's Dr. Lisa Wilson. She went to a conference in Hong Kong, and she was the only black person there.
he
And
tried to send me there. My PI at Texas tried to send me to Hong Kong, and I told him no. No, I don't. I was stressed enough in his lab. I mean, he was very nice, but his postdocs were, yeah, to the point where like every day they asked me, like, to the person who could speak English, to ask me why I was there, like every day.
oh,
I mean,
oh
every
no.
day. every day.
I don't
And
like you trying to bring out the angry Black woman.
they tried me.
Yeah.
They tried me like the whole process. They tried me. And to the point where I had to tell her, I'm like, hi, Dr. Yuan. Hello, it's me, the Black girl again. Yeah. Could you explain to them why I'm here so they can stop asking me? Thanks. To the point where most of their reagents were written in Chinese. So how am I supposed to do my experiment? I don't know what I'm using.
Right.
Things like that. Mm-hmm. But because I'm me, I called my advisor back home like, hey, you sent me here. You know this man, like, this is what's happening. Either they're going to fix it or you're going to send me somewhere else. I'm not. So you have to have a certain amount of confidence in yourself and to not allow yourself to be mistreated.
Right.
I had to have a conversation and I had to put my big girl panties on because normally I'll call my mama, and be like, he said this man is treating me this way. And I had to go and talk to this man like an adult, and that took a lot for me. So during these experiences, definitely made me grow up even more, and not so much, as a scientist, but just as a person. Right. And by the end of those experiences, I'm like, no, I am a scientist. Why don't I call myself that? Because no, that's what I am. I work for that. So why, you know what I mean? So, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a PhD, but no, I'm a scientist. No, my work speaks for itself, Check my resume.
Ari says we need to hear information like this and see the struggle is real. Thank you for pressing through. Thank you for being strong and grace.
Oh, thank you. We have to. Absolutely. It's Black History Month, and I saw a shirt that said, I am my ancestors' wildest dream come true, or something like that. And that just did it for me in that moment. I'm like, yes, we are. Like, we're all born in the times we're born in for a reason. My great-great-grandmother would have never, she could see me today to know what I do, So yeah, we have to change the narrative. And that's something that I am very, very passionate about and I'm determined to do, come hell or high water.
So another question, how important, with hindsight, do you feel a second language is to students coming into STEM?
Yes. It is very important. Most, if not all, of the labs you will work in, most of them are not from America. I don't remember being in any lab. Well, of course, there were people there that were from America, your students, but most of the PIs and the heads and the people you report to are the people that you're doing your research with. At least for me, all of them outside of New York were from a different country. So to have that, if you're able to have that and be able to learn another language prior to or as early as possible, but of course it's never too late. You can always learn another language. It definitely will help. Like I said, there was a big language barrier, working with the Asian postdocs. So it made it a lot harder. So Yeah, and that goes not just STEM. I think that's with any field. Anybody who, if you see that on someone's resume, that's why they ask those questions now. If you notice, most job applications ask, other than your primary language, click the box for, because we're seeing more and more how important that is. We're becoming more and more of a melting pot, and more cultures and more different languages are being integrated in all of the different types of career fields now. So it's very important. So if you're able to, and you have the option to, definitely take advantage of that. I was very good in Spanish before college. I went to a magnet school, so we started learning it in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And so from like K through sixth grade, we learned it every single day. And so then I get to middle school, and there was like, oh no, there's no second language. And so there's this gap, and then trying to relearn it, in high school, and then in college, it wasn't a part of my track, so I didn't take it. But if you take it, take it.
I say if you can,
if you
do
can.
it.
If you can, but now you don't even have to. Now you have all these apps and all these free resources to learn a different language. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that.
I think science is very universal, just like math is very universal.
Yeah.
So you can get through science and math through any language, but
Right.
I would say there's no one language to think that you should learn,
Yeah.
because the last person I had on my podcast last week, his postdoc was in Israel. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't think about Israel doing a postdoc, but that's where he
Yeah.
went. So you never know what language can be beneficial. So,
Right. Yeah,
you know,
because you get exposed to so many different cultures. Like when I was at Alabama A&M, all of those guys were Nigerians. So, I got to, and that's another thing about internships. I got to experience so many authentic cultures and have so many experiences that I would not have had otherwise. So while I'm there, they were like, oh, invited us to their house, and we had like an authentic meal. And there was another lab where the PI was Indian, so we got to go to their house for like an authentic meal for all the interns. They invited us over. They had a whole spread for us just to welcome us and just show how excited they were to have us there. So you get all of these different type of experiences through internships, and I'm gonna keep pressing how important internships are, not just for to put on your resume for a job, but just to have those type of experiences like what you were speaking about for yourself. Who can say that, going and having that type of experience, just having life experiences. A lot of us are so in a little box, and we don't see outside of our street or our city, and the world is so big. And that's one thing that being in this field and doing these internships and going to conferences and stuff has shown me, listening to speakers from all these different backgrounds and countries speak about different topics, is like the world is so big, and we definitely should try our best to experience as much of it as we can while we're here, or at least that's how I feel.
Yeah, that kind of leads into this next question, which I'm gonna take as the last one. But so Greg says, so it seems like you had some direction from people that you had in your life toward a field that is not necessarily advised to kids going from high school to college. How do some kids that might not have the direction from parents and or guidance counselors find these fields of study? How do they connect? Is there some type of resource that can be researched that will link certain skill sets with these types of fields?
Well, the quick answer is yes, there are resources. I can't ping direct resources. I myself have a mentorship program for minority girls. And so basically I pair them with a mentor based on their specific field of interest. And it's all of STEM. I have girls who are on engineer tracks and computer science, and that's not my lane at all. That's why I match them with someone that's in their field that can push them that way and give them those resources. So I myself, I have that for young girls who are interested in going into STEM. As far as kids, I don't really know. I know there are. I mean, I know that there are camps. I've seen them. There STEM camps. There's I don't know if it's necessarily at your school, but STEM and now STEAM is getting more integrated into curriculums. So if that's the field that you or your child is interested in going to, I would say a first step would be talking to your child's teacher. Because they have resources that a lot of people don't, or they can point you into the right direction. But like I said, I myself have a program for young girls, and it's on my page, and the link is in my bio. If you have a young girl who is interested in the STEM field.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon too and answer that question. But yes, teachers are the first line of defense, is what I would say. When I was in high school, my marine biology teacher is the person who started me down a path of finding paid internships and stuff like that. So teachers are always the first ones to ask because they know of many programs. Hopefully, your school does have a STEM program, but in the age of Google and social media, there are so many people, so many ways. I often tell parents the best way I would think is Twitter. Like everybody is on Twitter. You can find some sort of scientist on Twitter or someone doing something similar to what you or your child might be interested in on Twitter. And you know what I'm saying? And in this day and age, you can find some. I've with my podcast and everything else I've done, I've found people who do origami and robotics and put that together, or you're a geologist who loves photography. Like there's no set thing for you to do.
Or YouTube. I have a lot. My niece is 6 and she wants to be a scientist like her TT, and she loves YouTube. They have like all kind of videos and resources and links to a lot of different like experiments and things that kids can do and kids can learn at home type of experience. I know we're in COVID now, so I don't know how many people are actually physically back into school. But yeah, there are a lot of as soon as you said that, made me realize a lot of resources on YouTube as well.
Yeah. So as we are getting close to time, I know you like 10 o'clock your time. How you can explain your mentorship, and then how can people find you and talk to you more about the stuff that you do?
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram at _chic_geek. And so there's a link in my bio, and there's a form there for if you would like to become a mentor to a girl. I have about 7 girls in my program right now, and we're about to open it back up for the fall. And if you yourself or your child wants to be mentored, there's a link for becoming a mentee. And so you basically can communicate with me there. Once you fill that form out, we'll get it, we'll go over it, and we'll converse with you via email from there. And I'll, get whatever information I need from you there, specifically, what field, the age, goals, what programs they may currently in. Most of my girls are in college.
Okay.
Two just graduated, and they're in that in between phase because COVID. So now they're kind of, doing kind of odd end jobs, but we're working to get them somewhere soon.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was something that wasn't expected. So, to be a recent graduate and now COVID, and it's like, wait, what am I supposed to do now? So, and the option, of course, to go back to school is always there. That's what I did after I graduated. I thought I was ready to work, and I realized I wasn't. And I went on and got my advisor. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm ready. And he's like, okay, go get your master's and we'll pay for it. Okay, thanks. And do that. Don't pay for that either. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Finding the right advisor is very important. Very important.
Yes, yeah, your advisor is your lifesaver. Seriously. Like I said, I graduated 2015 with my master's, 2012 with my bachelor's. I'm 32 and I still talk to my advisor. Like,
right.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older, but my advisor, he passed away like a year ago. But until then, I was still talking to him. So
Listen, texting, emailing, even for my girls, because I'm big on internships, and I emailed him before COVID, right before, and I was like, hey, my girls need internships. I have a senior, and these are girls that are at completely different institutions, and I got one of them an internship at UGA, and I got one an internship with the USDA. So you use your resources. Use them. They're there. If and when I'm ready to get a job, I email him, hey, I'm looking for another job somewhere. And he's big on sending me far, far away. But it's there. It's there. So yeah, you can go to my page, go to the link, and you'll see where you can become a mentee or a mentor. And then we'll correspond from there.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out and talking with us. Like she said, follow her on Instagram _Chic. And I wish you a great Wednesday. And
thank you.
Sorry I took you later than you thought.
Oh, it's fine. I'm gonna crash, and that's even better sleep, so it's fine. I work from home tomorrow, so it's fine.
All right. Well, I hope we can stay in touch. So,
yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye. Okay, and I see you, Jackie. Hi there. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you for all the awesome questions. We are going to actually do the podcast a little bit early, or a lot of bit early, actually, next week. We're going to be doing the podcast at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and that is because the person that's going to be joining us, he is on the East Coast and he's a little bit older, Dr. Lewis. He's a professor of geoscience, and he is also a part of STEM Seas, which I spoke about earlier, which gave me the opportunity to sail the Bering Sea. So he is going to be my guest next week, again, early at 2 o'clock. And we also, the week after that, we're going to go back to 6 o'clock, but my guest, she's going to be joining us from Australia. So I appreciate everyone who has been a part of this and joining in. My co-host woke up, but he's having a bottle right now. And I know pretty sure most of you join in to see him and not me, which is fine. And I get it. But I appreciate everyone, and I hope you have a good night. Goodbye.